It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, tonight, before I get going, there is a genuinely interesting kicker in perspective to what I'm about to say next, but I left it right to the end of the Slam Dunk as a surprise for you, okay? So you'll have to listen right to the end of the Slam Dunk because there's a real good kicker here. But here goes anyway. I have a memo for Oriini Kaipara. Parliament isn't your personal stage. It's not karaoke night. It's not the Manaai either. It's the House of Representatives. I'm going to give you some insight here because I sat in that press gallery above Parliament for what seemed like a life sentence from age 21 through to 39 for both TV1 and TV3. So 18 years, 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. some days. I did my time and some. 18 years, which I'd never take back. I saw things, heard things, witnessed history, some good, some bad, some nasty, but I can't even forget it, right? So I've got some perspective. It's Parliament's marae. It's Parliament's meeting house, if you like. The Wharenui, otherwise known as Westminster's Big House, where all our elected representatives meet and argue it out. Not unlike the pai on the marae, really. Okay, so that's uniquely our Parliament, and it comes with precedents. By the truckload, really, recorded in Hansard, and the Speaker must be familiar with those rulings from before his time, so to be consistent with his rulings today and tomorrow. It's not an easy job being a Speaker. There are standing orders, rules, they're taken seriously, and they're respected and to be respected. I've seen some of the most defiant debaters, the staunchest MPs in our history, Winston Peters, Richard Prebble, Dover Samuels, Honi Harawira, Rodney Hine, Helen Clark, Michael Cullen, you name it, Mike Moore, Bill English. I've seen them butt heads and argue and go head to head in the most brutal of ways, but always they have fallen into line when the Speaker takes his feet. They follow the rules when the bell is rung. They stop what they're saying, they sit down. Rule number 101 of New Zealand politics. Speaker's on his feet, sit down. Bell goes, you stop. To defy those basic rules is trifling with the chair. It's arrogant to the extreme, and you're saying that these rules don't apply to me. I'm bigger and better than you, and I'm bigger and better than your crummy parliamentary argument, and I'm bigger and better than you to your parliament. What I've said must be heard, and it's more important than anything else before me or what comes after me. I'm more important than anything else you hear today. To break the rules is arrogant, dismissive, selfish, ignorant, narcissistic. It's an echo chamber politics on steroids. That's what it is. It's when you look in the full-length mirror and you can't look past the image staring back at you. You think you're it, no one else exists. That's what this says to me. Parliament's a place where rules matter, where time limits exist for a reason, and where grandstanding should never trump protocol. Your speech in the end, Oriini, became a stunt, ignoring the bell not once, not twice. It's a massive no-no in Parliament.
For many of us, it is our way of life. So the other members of this whare know this. We will.
You sit down, you knew the rules.
Aunties, my uncles, my cousins, my nephews, my nieces, everyone, I hear you. Kaiti pai, thank you for being here with me.
Here's the equivalent. Imagine me going onto a marae and disrespecting protocols and rules and ignoring the marae elders, the kaumātua beforehand, and their continued pleas for me to get it right. So just imagine that. Imagine me walking up to the wharenui, keeping my shoes on, walking inside, and rather than sitting down and waiting for the chance to speak, I just get up and start speaking. I stand up and I start rabbiting on, and when they tell me to sit down, I keep talking. I rabbit on. I dismiss them arrogantly. Imagine it. I'd be removed physically. I'd be mocked and humiliated. I'd be out of there. For goodness sake, go to Northland and ask women in Te Taitukato how many of them get to even speak inside the wharenui. I can tell you the answer is none. Ask Helen Clark. She knew it when she was told she couldn't speak. She was reduced to tears. I was there. Now, there's your context, and tell me, how does Oriini Kaipara look now? Remember, this was on the day of the big Māori Party reset, where they were desperate to lose the tag of arrogant bastards and be taken seriously. Oriini Kaipara's antics just doubled down on the dickhead label. Kaipara's a broadcaster turned politician. She decided that her maiden speech would be a moment to throw out the rule book and deliver a self-serving monologue well past her allocated time. She was politely reminded by the Speaker, not shouted at, not cut off mid-sentence. She was reminded, gently prompted. Did she wrap it up? No. She ploughed on defiantly, because apparently the rules don't apply when you've got a cause or a camera in front of you. And then came the haka and the House was suspended.
No, not that. The guarantee was that would not be taking place. The House is suspended.
And just like that, we've got a new brand of politician, the activist MP, the ones who believe their passion justifies anything, even disrespecting the very institution they now belong to. Kaipara's defenders will call it powerful, they'll call it emotional, they'll say it's long overdue. But for the rest of us, it was indulgent It was tone deaf, and it was a slap in the face to every other MP who stuck to their time limit. But check out this. This is the Māori media. How do they cover it? With glowing, adoring adulation for her. This is Te Karati. Watch this.
Ati hā e te iwi kei te hono mai te māngai tōranga pūho o tā maki makaurau me te pāti Māori o Oriini Kaipara ki tā tātou wānanga. I nei a tonu nei ki te korero mo tēnei rā, nui tai ore mōna ki te whare pāre mata Oriini e hoa. Nei te mihi aroha nui ki a koe, tēnā koe e te tuahine i tēnei rā whakahirahira o tira o tātou katoa. Ngā mihi ki a koe.
Tēnā koe e rongo nei tēnei ngā kauwhakahi i te aroha e rere maina i tā maki makaurau skori. O tira i te taiwhanga o te karere koutou i ta whitira tēnā rā koutou. Tēnā koe te manahau.
Kia ora, marika rere atu nei te aroha ki a koe e hoa.
Look, I get it. Maiden speeches are special. They're personal. They're a chance to tell your story. But they're also part of a process. Everyone gets a slot. Everyone sticks to the clock. We move forward together. That's how democracy works. The moment you start deciding that your voice deserves more airtime than others, that your experience is so sacred that the rules don't apply, you've lost the plot, and she did. Kaipara has a platform, she has a voice, but she's now an MP. That means playing by the same rules as everyone else in Parliament, not rewriting them because you think you're special or you're on a mission from your ancestors. This country is crying out for unity, for leadership grounded in fairness and mutual respect. What we don't need is more political theatre masquerading as cultural resistance. If every MP started ignoring protocol because they felt personally that they were justified, we'd have chaos. And the public's already wary and cynical would tune out entirely. I know the speech came on the day of the great Te Pāti Māori reset, where they were keen not to look like arrogant dictators, running roughshod over everything and everyone. But going into government, if that's what you truly want, is not for the faint-hearted. It requires grown-ups to turn up, and under MMP, grown-ups must do the mahi and compromise. Put the country first, not self-interest, not one particular race or iwi, but all New Zealanders must feel like the government's governing in the wider public interest. And your brand of separatism is unwelcome and not wanted by the masses. Sure, the hotheads and the young deluded activists who are yet to grow up will love it, but ultimately it's taking you and this country down the road to nowhere. No one wins, we all lose out badly. What I'm saying is it's destructive and toxic, this brand of politics. Pākehā say to me daily, what's going on? What's happened with Te Pāti Māori? Why are they suddenly so angry and so activist? And what happened to the last 40 years where we've turned up and said sorry for something we didn't do, but it happened in the last 200 years before we were born. So we've bent over backwards to apologise, to turn up with land and money in return and say sorry and get on with it, side by side. And it's not just Pākehā who feel completely bewildered by this Te Pāti Māori aggro. And I know plenty of Māori who are eye-rolling and embarrassed as well. Because here's my ultimate point. We both have to live here. We have nowhere else to go. I've got nowhere to go. And neither do you. This is our tūtanga waiwai as well. I accept we're not the same, and that's great. It's our strength. That's rich. That's interesting. It's something to bloody celebrate. But we must accept, and what we must accept is that we have to live under the one roof and the laws and rules of the place. I treat New Zealand law with respect. I treat Marae protocols with respect. So to the Māori Party now, it's your turn to grow up and do the same. I want to get even more personal here. I've got a 15-year-old son. He's my best mate. Okay, I talk about him a bit, and he's already in my eyes an impressive young man, a young New Zealander, right? Captain of his rugby team at school, all that. He speaks both languages. He's Māori, but he's a New Zealander, and he's got all sorts of mates: Māori, Pacific Island, Indian, Tongan, Pākehā. They're all around at our place in the car, whatever, like a bag of licorice, all sorts. So we wouldn't have it any other way. But most of all, he's a Kiwi, and he asked me, Dad, why are they doing this? He's getting confused with the messaging coming from Te Pāti Māori. And that's my point. You've got influence over our young ones. I've fought tooth and nail to bring my son up the right way, to be proud of who he is, proud to speak English and to deal, to be proud of both sides of his family. I've never stood in the way. I've encouraged it, but I've always stressed mutual respect, always. But even he now is looking at these antics and wondering, what the hell? He's confused. Have I lied to him? Are they telling the truth or are they over the top? He's at the age where he's desperate for more information, but of his own volition he appears unimpressed, finds it divisive and pointless. And it is. And we're all going to live here. We've got to press forward. We all want the same thing ultimately. But I've always said this, and always will, and I stand by it now more than ever. We've got to understand each other better in our hopes and dreams and ambitions. But the moment we divide and rule on racial lines, we give one group of people rights and privileges others don't get there. We're toast. We've got to grow up fast and realise we've been handed an opportunity in total paradise. We don't have borders with other countries. We don't have conflicts like that. We are here on our own with an opportunity that very few get. Let's embrace it, because right now I feel like we're on the crossroads. We appear to be close to blowing it. Dividing on racial lines is South Africa under apartheid rule. No country in the world has successfully divided on race, ever. Let's get our collective act together. To Te Pāti Māori, you're wailing and shouting in defiance, you're spitting and hissing and trampling on our country's well-established protocols. It's not only unwelcome, it's starting to be noticed and pushed back on. And it misses the mark because rather than bleat that Māori have somehow missed the boat and been left right out, it couldn't be more untrue. Māori sit at the table. You have your own seats. You've been in government. You've been in co-governance arrangements at local government level. You have turned hundreds of millions of dollars into billions around New Zealand. The big tribes are massive players. You have your own health centres. You have your own schools at every level, your own university, TV channel, your own news service. Māori sit at every level of this country, from boardrooms to the executive to cabinet to the backbenches. You've got special seats in government, and even unelected representatives have voting rights in Auckland. We've said sorry countless times. You sit at the front of the queue for many things. The government sold a building recently to a local iwi in Wellington because it was so important to them. You were first in the queue, and you flicked it for $2 million more than you paid for it 2 weeks later. That's nothing special. You sold it to a Pākehā developer. Don't tell me you're locked out. Ngāi Tahu run the South Island economy. It's great down there because of them. It's entirely impressive. They want to be part of the solution, not the problem. So back to Oriini. Oriini Kaipara might think she's made a statement, but all she was really doing was disrespecting the chamber she now sits in. And in doing so, she let down the very people that she claims to represent. Get back to the kaupapa, Oriini. You're in Parliament now. That means you follow the rules, or you get out of the way for someone who will. Stop being a bad influence on our young people, send them the right messages, and get with the program. And here's the kicker I promised you. I have a massive conflict of interest here. A massive one. I know Oriini. She's the first cousin of my ex-wife. The first cousin of my son's mum. But I refuse to allow that to get in the way of the truth. And there is a cost to me in saying all this. Privately, I'll get pushback in some form, I bet you. But it's too important to ignore and go silent on. I always promised you I'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to duck and weave like the other mainstream media, leave stuff out for fear of reprisals. I love the country, but it's under attack by these separatists, and I don't want it to be ruined by them as well. I don't want it to be ruined. Many of these guys are on the taxpayers' dime, and what they fear is losing their privilege that they have. That's what they fear, losing their privilege of their race. That's what they fear that we don't have.
Editor-in-Chief with Dunc in Ghana.